Man, I love doing this show, especially on Monday after the weekend of so many activities. I mean, wow, smorgasbord of whatever you want to see, locally included. And I tell you what, baseball got me fired up. I love the NBA. Man, there's some players I'm seeing excel for the first time. Back when I was a kid, I thought about being a New York Knicks fan, and I said, man, they're looking good. They're looking good again. And that game they had against Zion, whoa. And Zion showed me his stuff, literally. But it's all over the place. And congratulations to the Lady Lobos soccer team. Pulled it off against San Diego. Big crowd out there at the Lobo Field. I mean, on and on and on. And then I get a heartbreak. Coach Birmingham is saying bye. Super Ray Birmingham. I'll never forget when he arrived. I was doing Lobo baseball then. And now today I hear this news that he's going to retire. I never thought we would hear the R word from Ray Birmingham. And his legacy, winner, nice guy, red pickup truck, competitor. Oh my goodness. And so much fun. Just, I learned so much about him when he was inducted into the New Mexico Sports Hall of Fame. Everybody gets up there and gives us a long speech. Coach Ray gets up there and gives a 2-minute speech, brought the house down. He had that knack of getting your undivided attention and then slamming you with a one-liner. Super Ray Birmingham. The guy I have on today is the reason I'm so fired up today, because you see him all the time. He's so visible and one of the most polarized New Mexicans ever because he does so much. Big heart, creative, talented, organized, intelligent, and versatile. He's the director of the New Mexico Bowl. He has his own radio talk show every morning on 6:10 a.m. He just does everything, including taking care of a beautiful little girl who he loves dearly. This guy grew up in Southern California and he came to New Mexico. And ever since he landed here, he's been on top of things. Not shy, he jumps right in and never hesitant to give us his opinion. And it's always an intelligent, well thought out opinion. I love listening to him every morning. I love him when I shake his hand because he's so genuine. He's a nice guy. That's the way we'll introduce him. Nice guy, Jeff Siembieda with Henry T. and you today. Jeff, good morning, buddy. How are you?
I'm really well, Henry. Thank you. I was, when you're doing that introduction, I thought I was on the wrong day. I thought it was certain you were introducing somebody else. It's very, very kind of you, Henry, and I appreciate the kind words. How you living?
Man, I'm healthy. Thank God.
Yeah.
I am healthy. That's the big word these days. Health.
Yeah. Yeah. Being well and being healthy. It's amazing what this year has taught us. And the last 13 months and the perspective it's put everything in it, isn't it? It's what we can do. We had I always say this about life, about parenting, but whatever it is, you don't know what you can do until you have to do it, right? I don't know if you'd have told us 14, 15 months ago, this is what we are going to go through as a society, as a global society. You probably would have said, we can't do that. And we can. Here we are. And hopefully on our way out of it. But healthy is the key word. And it's good to see you, my friend. I miss you.
I'll miss you too, Jeff. But I'll listen to you
Okay.
regularly. Man, you're better than the sports page every day because I don't have to subscribe to the morning paper anymore, man. You fill me up. And you and your buddy JJ, I love hearing your show. And really, you do, I mean, super job on the show.
Thank
And
you.
entertains me for 3 hours. Congratulations. And you know, I've never missed a New Mexico Bowl, and I never will. But this year, not having it here was a little odd, but I watched it anyway. How was the experience this year?
Heartbreaking, I think, is the first thing. I mean, it was a lot of things, Henry. Broke my heart. And I was we had a conversation with the New Mexico Bowl executive board and our partners last week, and it's kind of going over the whole process, and it brought me back to the day. I knew it was coming because we've been having these conversations with the governor's office and local officials, just trying to figure out how we were going to play this game at home, and going through all the steps and all the different people's reactions as we were getting there. And the day that we finally had to make a decision, and you know this, and I don't know if everybody knows, ESPN owns our event. I work for ESPN, and working with my bosses at ESPN, and we just got to a point where we had to make a decision. And when it became reality, it was heartbreaking. Henry, I poured my soul into this thing, my heart into this thing for 15 years. That was our 15th anniversary game. So it was heartbreaking to take it to another place. It was scary because I didn't know the venue, I didn't know the market, but in the end, it was validating and gratifying to be one of the games that did play. I was proud that we were able to continue to play the game and brand it as the New Mexico Bowl. And I assure you that New Mexico is our home, right? And one of the fears was, well, if we take the game somewhere, it's never coming back. And when we started the conversation, I didn't even think that. But all the events that have left here over the last year and gone to Colorado, Arizona, Texas, Utah, because there was much more certainty in being able to stage events, there was a fear amongst our stakeholders that we're not getting the game back. And initially, it never crossed my mind. And so we really had to work through that. The game, our plan now, I'm in the office now, we're planning on playing a game in Albuquerque on in December this year, which will be our 16th. But it was validating that I know we do things the right way. We graded out really well. The television audience was very, very good on Christmas Eve. But it was prideful that we were able to get it done. And that's a lot of people now. That's a lot of people. That's Tanya Armenta at Visit Albuquerque. That's our friends in Frisco at the Frisco Bowl and at FC Dallas. That's ESPN. That's our local. So many local partners stayed with the event this year. But I think overriding, when I look back, it was heartbreaking, Henry, because I love this place. I've been here 25 years this July. I don't know at what point you're from, Albuquerque, but 25 years now. It's almost half my life.
You're native. I mean,
right?
5 years, native New Mexican,
Yeah.
Siembieda.
Yeah, I love this place.
Great experience from your work prior to Albuquerque, and I know you hail from somewhere in beautiful Southern California. I know you're always talking about SC. They're big in your heart. The Aztecs of San Diego are big in your heart. Is it literally San Diego of where you're from?
No, I grew up in the LA area. Tarzana, California is my home.
Oh.
Did you watch UCLA's run through to the Elite Eight? Johnny Juzang put Tarzana back on the map. But yeah, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. So I grew up going to SC football games. A good buddy of mine in fifth, sixth grade school, his dad was the great Tom Kelly. And Tom Kelly was the voice of USC football for 25, 30 years. He's in the Southern California Sportscasters Hall of Fame, and what was great. And Tom took Chris and I to games. I was at the LA Memorial, the LA Coliseum, fifth and sixth grade in the press box, Henry. And so back in the days where everything was paper, Tom would be doing the post game show, and he would read the stats, and then he would hand the paper to us, and we'd make paper airplanes while he was doing the post game show and throw paper airplanes out the window at the Coliseum as it was emptying out after USC games against UCLA and Alabama and Notre Dame. And so that's how I got into this. My love, I always knew I kind of wanted to do this. And, I want to be an athlete like we all did, but I was all right. I was a good athlete, but I might be short, but I'm slow now. I wasn't going to be a pro. So that made me say, that's what I want to do. And that kind of made my love for SC football, just being in that environment. I was so blessed to Chris Kelly was a good buddy of mine, and his dad, Tom, invited me to those events. And just think, fifth, sixth grade, what are you? You're 10, 11 years old, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old at the Coliseum in the press box with that sort of access. So, you can see the inspiration why I decided I wanted to do this. And here I am all these years later, still in some respects, working A, in college football, and B, doing the radio show and dabbling in play-by-play still here and there, and just love it.
Yeah, you're doing so many things, and most of them are right in your wheelhouse. You can do them all, and you do them all so well. I love the show in the morning on 610 with JJ. You've really helped him come along as a broadcaster, and now he's getting his shot here, there, everywhere. And he's going to write a book about you someday, about the guy that helped him through it all. But I love his work ethic, and he loves what he does as well. How much fun is it? And how credible does it make you both when you both know what you're doing and love it so much?
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words. And, when you're a jack of all trades, maybe I'm a master at none, and that's okay. I go back and I know how fortunate I am. And Henry, you're going to get this as much as anybody will. I don't know if I'm any good. And I, at some points I just, I want to be good, but I know how fortunate I am that I've been able to make a living doing so many different things, doing something I love. And we create our own luck, certainly. And I've had a path in creating the bowl game but I'm so fortunate. My daughter, who's now a freshman in high school, which is unbelievable, is talking about careers, and we talk about finding something you love. JJ loves what he does too, and I'm really proud of JJ. Do you know, he and I've been doing this show for 12 and a half years over at the Sports Animal, and I think that's half the existence of the Sports Animal. We've been, and a 12 and a half year run, and let's hope it goes on for more. I'm proud of that. But he and I worked together at the old 1310 The Ticket, an afternoon show I was doing, and JJ was 17 years old and hanging around. He reminds me of me when I was younger, just knew every stat, and probably like you, right? Every batting average, we knew the back of baseball cards and knew every player on every team and every lineup, and he knows it. And him getting his chance now, he's been the TV voice of Lady Lobo basketball, the radio voice of Lady Lobo basketball, and the TV voice for the ladies soccer. He's called 2 championships in a month. He got to call the Lady Lobo women basketball team win the conference, and then just the other night got to call the soccer championship. The Jaden Edwards, I'm calling it the Edwards Ender. Jaden Edwards' goal at the end of the game. Every great play needs a moniker. So the Edwards Ender, he got to call right off of her title toe. But I'm proud of him, man. He works his butt off. And, if I pushed him at all, I hope, I've given him pointers along the way, and he's helped me now, Henry. I mean, everybody you've worked with has probably helped you get better. I've been doing it a couple of days now, but I still want to get better every day and still take a lot of pride in what we do. But yeah, I'm proud of him, man. I'm really, really proud of him. And I really like when good things happen to good people. And as you know, in this business, there's a lot of good people, and there's a lot of people who might not be so good. And I'm really, really excited for him because I love when good things happen to good people. That's why I'm so happy for him.
Amen. Reaction to Down Home Ray Birmingham. Yeah. If there was ever humility in a human being and you wanted to take a photo of it, go take a picture today of Ray Birmingham. As humble a man as you'll ever want to meet, funny, hardworking, and knows the game of baseball. And so talented at what he does, he could make me a hitter.
let me throw in one more word, and I think it's genuine or sincere.
Oh,
Um, a lot of people, and look, if Ray doesn't get to Omaha this year, he didn't get to Omaha, and he's been talking about it. And I know there's going to be the critics who come out and say, "Well, he never did." Okay, did is he leaving Lobo baseball in a better place than when he got it? I don't even think it's arguable. And look, I like Rich all day, and rest his soul. He was a great human being and a good coach, right? And Rich, the program was in a decent spot. Ray's got it in a better spot. It's on the map. It's winning championships. It's competing for championships. It's turning out great young men, first and foremost, husbands, fathers, business people, community contributors, and he's putting people in the pros. He's built the facilities. I hear, well, they were better off at Isotopes Park. They weren't. They weren't. They didn't get to take batting practice infield. They didn't get to shower there or dress there. And now just think with United playing there, I mean, they'd have been third-class citizens instead of second. So he's building a facility. Let me tell you what I think is going to be the toughest part for whoever comes in next. And I don't know who that's going to be. It's not necessarily putting together a good baseball team and keeping the program going, because I think that'll be challenging. But the toughest part is going to be the continued support that Ray has with the community. Ray has been, and I know you've been there, the first pitch banquets that Ray hosts in late January each year, but this year, which are sold out. Tim Kirkjian's been in, Mitch Garver, Alex Bregman, he gets speakers. But not only is the room filled, but with whom that room is filled. The support from around the state, the monetary support, the support in whatever ways, that to me is going to be the toughest part, because look, you can BS people for a minute, but you can't BS people for as long as Ray has gotten people to support this program. He is genuine, and I think that's the biggest telltale for me. He loves this state. And when you get here and you understand it like you do, like Ray does, like I hope I have a bit of an understanding for it, and you two certainly more than me. It's sincere. There's a big BS meter in this state. People understand when you're not real, and that's one of the things I love about the people of New Mexico so much. And that's why I'm glad my daughter is a New Mexican and grown up here and has that trait to her. But I think that's going to be the toughest part, is just that genuine, sincere realness that's Ray Birmingham. Rocky Long has that trait. It's something that's really hard to find, and I think that's going to be the toughest thing to replace.
yeah. Well, I really appreciate the description, the word genuine of Coach Birmingham. And I was here, I was doing Lobo baseball when he arrived. And working with him was just like one of a kind. I mean, he'd come out to batting practice, get a stick. Can you still hit the ball, Henry? I'd
Want to throw BP?
Lower your right elbow a little bit, Henry. Now, bang! I'd bang it out to right. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
He even took time out to show me how to hit a fastball again. And he's had some great players over the years. Too bad he hasn't been blessed with the big arms, because he certainly showed people how to hit the ball. I mean,
Yeah.
and there have been some big hitters here.
So he's dispelled one myth, because they've had some good pitching staffs the last couple of years, and then this year, you can't pitch in Albuquerque. It's hard to recruit pitchers to altitude. Nobody wants to go up and pitch up there and have their numbers blow up. And I think that's always going to be the toughest part of putting in. He dispels it. I've talked to him a lot about it. How do you recruit pitchers? What kid wants to go and pitch at Mile High where the ball flies out of the yard? And he's got them here and got some to the big leagues, and proven that it can be done here.
Amen. Who inspired you to head in the broadcasting direction long ago?
It was Tom Kelly, that story I told you about USC.
Yeah.
And then I met Chick Hearn, the great Laker broadcaster, when I was in high school. I loved that. And then, my dad had access. My dad was a caterer in Los Angeles. One of his accounts was the Dodgers. And I went to a Dodger Christmas party years when I was a kid, and met Vince Scully then. And then I just I knew I wanted to get into it. I wanted to stay in it. This is what I wanted to do. And I was never going to be good enough to go pro and everything. I played a lot of stuff. And I'll tell you something. I've told this story on the air a couple of times. I'm such a Vince Scully fan. I'm a big fan of Ted Leitner's style. He's the longtime voice of the Padres and the Aztecs. But when I was I say senior, my 5th year at San Diego State, I worked for KUSI TV, it was the Padres station, and I was working with a guy named Phil Stone, former NBC guy. We had a Sunday night show, and it was basically me and a producer and him. And so the intern, I did a ton of work. They took me to spring training, and I got a pass. I got a full season Padre media pass when I was in my 5th year at San Diego State. And so, Henry, what does that mean for you as a college kid? Well, that's 82 meals, first of all, right? I'm going out to the ballpark and I'm having dinner. So one day I was there. The Dodgers were in town. I'm in the media dining room up at old Jack Murphy Stadium at the time. And I was sitting by myself, and a gentleman sits down, comes up. He says, "May I sit here?" And I look up, and I'm like, "Please." He's like, "My name is Vin. Nice to meet you." Vin Scully sat down with me, and he sat with me for about 15 minutes. And as much as I wanted to ask him, he kept asking, "How are you, Jeff? What are you doing? What is it you want to do?" Really? Well, it just couldn't have been accommodating. And then, he finished his meal and he says, "Jeff, it's my pleasure to meet you. I got to go to work now, but best of luck to you." And it was like, boom, in. Like, that's what I wanted to do.
Gee, I can't describe, I can't find the adjective, except tell you a sentence. At his age, he was getting better and better, never relinquished any of that talent because of age.
So
He
listen
just
to
got
him.
better.
Yeah, listen to him a couple years ago. Go to his last year, 2 years ago, and then rewind. Listen. They replayed all the time. Go back to the '88 World Series, the Kirk Gibson series, and listen to him. He doesn't sound much different at all. It's amazing. What he had is a talent, and we all have our own style. But there was nobody except for maybe you could intertwine a story with the game like he could, right? And here's Gibson, the big left-hander, steps in, played football at Michigan State. Erickson on the mound, the 1-0 is low and away, 1 ball and no strike. Gibson came up, and I talked to him yesterday, and he was telling me about the day. Here's a 1-0 slider in for a strike, one, and the way he would intertwine stories with the game, and you were listening to two things at once and picturing two things at once. And you're right, Henry, he didn't lose much at the end at all, and I mean, as good as there's ever been. Like, of all the great Dodgers, he might be the greatest.
Oh, amen. But he had great lineups to describe since the New York days. And he was so real, and the credibility of every word he spoke was the truth.
And he had a way to say it.
Anybody in the business you could rely on for accuracy, it was Vinny.
He had a way of saying it, and he learned something. And this is, for play-by-play, and I haven't done as much play-by-play as I'd like to. I stopped seeking play-by-play stuff when I became a divorced dad. And I know this sounds weird. I've been fortunate to do the radio and run the bowl game. When I became a divorced father, it just, there's part of me that feels I missed professionally, but I have no regrets. My priority became spending as many evenings with my little girl as I could. And it's been fun to take her to events, but he had it more, to be able to let the moment breathe. Sometimes as a play-by-play person, you don't have to speak all the time in those big moments. You let it breathe. You let the crowd tell a story, especially on television. And, I was doing Aggie Vision for a number of years, and I did New Mexico State games, and I learned a lot about, the difference between radio play-by-play and TV play-by-play. Well, Vinny was so good, and he knew how to let the moment tell itself better than anybody I've ever seen. And that could be in golf or football or baseball, no matter what he did.
Amen. Wow. Now we're taking a whole new direction here. Taking a direction that I know you love to go every minute of your life. I'm going to ask you the most rhetorical question you have ever been asked. How much do you love your daughter?
I mean, I don't know how to explain that. Like, we all love our kids, Henry. I mean, I you know, it's been fun watching JJ be a dad. He's got a 2-year-old, and I've told him, and he gets it. Now I can never tell you what it feels like until it happens to you. Nobody could have told me what it felt like until it happened to me, and I can't explain it to anybody else. I mean, you're a dad, you get it. It's a special bond, and I'm very, very fortunate. It's crazy how my career worked out, in my life. And if you believe that there's a higher power planning these things out, then this makes sense. But I did TV for all those years, the news, whether it was the nightly news or for years the morning news. And as my career changed is when my personal situation changed. And I had an opportunity to do an afternoon sports talk show from 4 to 7, and it wasn't right for me. I couldn't do that. I'm with my daughter from those hours, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to intertwine my life around being a dad, and priorities are what it is. I just changed a flight to come back next week because she's got a lacrosse match on Wednesday, and so I'm coming back Tuesday night. I don't know how to explain it, Henry. She's a great kid. In fatherhood changed me as it changes all of us, and I just I got what I needed in that little girl, and hopefully I'm what she needed, and we got really, really blessed that she's a great kid, wonderful student. First and foremost, just the kindest, sweetest, most caring, genuine kid. She and I had a conversation. She's grown up differently than I did, right? I grew up in a single parent home, and she is. My mom was a teacher in Los Angeles raising 2 boys, and we didn't have much, man. We had holes in our jeans and hand-me-down shirts, and your goal is always to raise your child better than you've been raised, right? You always want them to come up in a better place. And so, I'm not rich, Henry, but she's certainly growing up she's not wanting for anything. And we actually had this conversation this weekend. Again, we donated some stuff, and I said, "What did I tell you?" And she says, "The moment that I take it for granted, it goes away." I said, "Yeah." I said, "The hardest thing really, Henry, that I'm doing as a dad, and there's a lot of hard things, is trying to make her appreciate. I grew up in a way where we didn't have, so I appreciate everything I've had. I've worked for, nobody's ever given me anything but a chance. She's got a little different, and so teaching her to appreciate things, but she does, and that's why I've gone on way too far, but I'm just fortunate. She's just a kind, sweet, genuinely sincere, good person who's turned into a pretty good athlete. You'll appreciate this. She ran on that state runner-up cross-country team at Academy as a freshman.
Wow.
Lettered as a freshman. She scored her first varsity lacrosse goal as a freshman on Friday. Got her first yellow card too, which she didn't know how to handle. But she found her sport. She played golf for a while. Decided she likes cross country and lacrosse, and God bless her. Let her go.
Wow. We have 2 minutes left. What do you want to say to your audience out there, or this audience that is probably your audience as well? What's on your heart today that you want to tell people in your last 2 minutes?
Well, Henry, I'm just blessed to be able to do what I do, and I'm blessed to be with you. I consider you a friend, have for 25 years since the day I got here, and I don't know if I'm any good at what I do. I work my butt off. I try to do things the right way. I make mistakes and try to correct them. But I just hope as we go through this, and I don't know that I'm done yet. I just try to do things the right way and make a difference. And I'm glad that we got to spend some time. Hopefully we get to spend some time together in person. But coming out of what we've just, we're not coming out. I mean, hopefully coming out. What we've gone through as a society over the last year is put things into perspective. Hug the ones you love tight. Appreciate what you got. And just, I don't know. For me, Henry, I appreciate you thinking I'm worthy enough to come on your show. It's humbling just to spend a few minutes with you, and I don't really have a message other than just appreciate and work hard. That's all I'm trying to do.
I'm honored that you said yes to spend time on this show. Hopefully we'll do it again. I know you have to make a press conference for Ray Birmingham in a few minutes. We're going to let you slide, but I want to get you out again. I have 45 more questions for you, Jeff.
I got 57 more answers, Henry. I got anytime, and thank you for reaching out to me. And sorry we couldn't make it work last week, but really, I enjoy this. I'm humbled by it, and congratulations on everything that you're doing, and just I saw you sign Sammy C's floor out in Gallup. Sammy C's one of my favorite people. Just be well, Henry. Keep doing what you're doing. Be well, and let's get together in person soon.
God bless you, Jeff. Say hi to your little girl.
Promise.
And just kind of like put a sheet of paper on a chair next to me, next to you in a few minutes. I would love to be at that press conference for Coach Birmingham.
Yep.
I can't be there. Say hello to him for Henry T.
I will do that. Henry, be well. It's great to see you. It always is.
Take care. See you soon. Congratulations on everything.
Thanks. You too.
Take care, Jeff.
Take care, Henry.
Wow. That's a milestone for Henry T. Getting to interview Jeff Siembieda. I mean, a pro who can do it all. And man, talented and then some. And he and JJ worked a show in the morning that fills me up with information. I mean, why subscribe to a newspaper or anything else when you have those two guys to give you the latest of what's going on? And I rely on them. And, you know, I'm a sports nut and I'm a radio media rat. You can't kick me out. I've been doing it so long. And really, not only a sports nut, but I'm a newsman. I'm interested in what's going on. Big time, local time, across the street. If it's news, I'm listening. And people, well, you just talk sports, right? If a news story broke out in front of me, I was the only one there, it's a confidence thing. I know I could describe to the people what just took place here, whether it be an auto accident or something serious, very serious. I know because I've been watching it all my life, watching Dick Nipping and working with him over the years, and Johnny Morris and all the great ones that were here. Man, writing mental notes. When you work in the same office every day with a Dick Nipping, believe me, you know the business. You just get it, whatever rubs down or rolls down his back is going to roll in your direction. When there's a serious call and he's on the phone and he's dealing with his sources for information, or if something's breaking, and Dick Nipping can only do this because I've really worked with him and saw the magic. Everybody's looking at files and what do we have? Who do I get to talk about this story? Dick goes ding, ding, ding. He'll go to the phone and he's got the number somewhere, many times right here, and he'll get the number one magical source who can tell him all about that story. And he's got it on the ear and he's typing his computer away. Dick Nipping was magnificent in that newsroom. And talking to Jeff puts me back into that professional realm of how to do your job. It's a tough job. And then you got to go look at the camera, and no matter what your mood is that day, or if you have the flu a little bit or whatever, you have to perform. It's right now, and you got to be accurate. As you perform, you got to know who the victim was, what happened literally in the car wreck or whatever. I watched Dick Nipping working side by side with him for many years. And all you have to do is like this, just observe him, and he'll tell you what the business is all about. And he takes it so seriously. And he's not just the guy getting the sources all figured out. He's a genuine person. And much like Jeff, he's going to talk to you about something. He's got it in mind. He knows how to do that story. Dick Nippy knew how to do every story. And if he didn't, man, he'd find out in a hurry from somebody that did. And if you watch Dick Nippy, it was a lot like watching Walter Cronkite. You believed him. And he gave you no other reason to mistrust him. Never. He was credible. His word was his bond. And man, you got the accuracy every time Dick presented his stuff on the air. And we all got a little bit of that every day on how to do our job. And believe me, it stuck. And I look back on all those great professionals that I work with. And the sportscaster around me growing up was Jim Boggio. Hardworking, creative. He thought of ways to be more creative than 5 minutes ago. He was always thinking creativity, being different, being unique, and he was. And I'm really blessed. I should tell you those stories someday. But let me tell you about our sponsors first. And then there was a nice man I met on the phone. He sent me an email, and then he wanted me to tell the story about Ali. He's not doing very well, but he said, Henry, man, it would lift me up if you would tell me that Ali story again. So I'm going to tell you right now, let's go to the advertisers for this Henry T show. Then I'll tell you about that Ali story. And his name is Ronnie. Nice guy. Wow, look at that. Amistoy Drywall. Great family. Pierre Amistoy Sr. Played for the Great Valley Viking teams under Vince Capelli and Coach Robertson. Yeah. Amistoy has been a big name in our community. Mr. Amistoy, who's now in heaven. Wow. Hard-working, tough love for his son Pierre Jr. and his other sons. Tough man, credible man, and knew the drywall business better than anybody ever has. And he'd present that product, and then he said, "Hey, let's learn more about this home building stuff." So they started doing it themselves. The modeling, make it look better. Look at that patio today. Here's the plan. Now here's the plan. Let's make it like this. And tomorrow, that patio there will look like this one right here. And sure enough, and they're all creative. That family, the Amistoy family, blessed with creativity and blessed with athleticism too. Yeah, Grandpa Pierre, oh man, great athlete back in his day. Pierre Jr., ooh, Valley Viking star. And then the sons and the daughters and sisters and whomever, they could all play the game. Nice guy, ran their business well, very, very popular business people. And man, they do their business well. And being in their office complex that I go to occasionally, just to go in there and talk to Pierre Jr. He's got so many great stories, and the family's involved in the horse racing business as well. All those photos, all the plaques. Do business with Amistoy Drywall, because you're going to do business with trustworthy, professional people. Thank you, Pierre, for helping us put this television show on the air. And Rax Lumber Company and Richie Tabbitt, the Tabbitt family from Berlin. And Richie, one of the great athletes ever at Berlin High School, running back Oh, he was a quarterback, but he would run back punts and kickoffs back in the day. But a great quarterback, Richie Tabbitt, and all the Tabbitts. Thank you to all of you. Richie stood up one day and said, Henry, I want to help your show. Do a show. Come on. You talked me into it. Indigo Mortgage and Ben Lucero, the great high jumper from Las Cruces, Mayfield High School, goes on to take a scholarship at the University of Missouri, high jumper deluxe. Man, what was he, a 7-foot jumper? Man, in fact, what did he miss the bar at 7'7"? It was a little breezy out that day at the Olympic trials, and he was getting out of the pit, and he thought he was going to go to the Olympic Games when he hit the sand or the sawdust, and on his way, maybe a step away from getting out of the pit, the breeze knocked the bar off, and his dreams did not come true that day. He missed the Olympic Games, by the thinnest of margins. Ben Lucero, Indigo Mortgage. Thank you, Kevin. Feeding all those kids around the city every day at the canteen. Man, they give us our sweets too, our little desserts after the main course, but they'll give it all to. At all the schools throughout our state, the canteen serves them every day. Hydro Bar, Tim Baca and his beautiful wife, and Julie, and the kids, all of them up there working the Hydro Bar right now. It's a family business. And boy, they know how to pour a delicious, healthy drink of water. We are a little deceived sometimes when we go buy the water that we trust every day at the grocery store. If you look a little deeper into purchasing water, clean, healthy water, you look in the Hydro Bar direction. And I won't miss it every day. I crave it. And I'll go out of my way to go to the Hydro Bar to get fresh water for the weekend. And it's probably good, but I go to the Hydro Bar for my water. And these people that have a fine product, don't deny it. But I know the Hydro Bar is clean, it's healthy, and they do it well for you. So I will not go a day without drinking my Hydro Bar water. Oh, I want you to go up there and do the same. Try it out. And once you have water from the Hydro Bar, the way it's filtered, the way it just tastes, it tastes fresh, it tastes clean. Go up there and try the Hydro Bar, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But thank you. We thank ProView out there for every day serving our community with Steve Davis and Alden and all those pros out there. They help us put this show on the air, and GovTV, the city television station, pros, and Comcast 26. I mean, this show goes all over the state, all over the world, really, because of the electrifying electronics that we have today. The signals sent on the streaming magic. Can you imagine them right now watching Henry T. and Moscow? Who's that guy? Come here, watch this guy. Albuquerque, New Mexico, Henry T. Watch this show. And we go and we do our show. And I've got the awesome experience of having Jimmy Tran as my producer and Alden, our producer at ProView. I mean, these are pros. They know what they're doing. They hit these switches in front of them like magic. And it's sophisticated stuff. You look at what they have to do to figure out how to put a show on the air. Yeah, it's quick and it's versatile, and gee, they say anybody can do it after a while. But I guarantee you, Henry T would have to do some studying and research before I could handle pushing all those buttons and magic. Here's Henry T on the air in Albuquerque and in Italy today. Hello, Moscow. Hello, Japan, wherever. If you're on the right coordinates, I told you about that day. I have a new friend in Tuscany, Italy, out there in the backyard on a patio drinking their wine, and they're watching the Henry T show in Italy. Have an invitation to someday in the pretty near future, get on an airplane, go to Tuscany, and have wine with them. Have dinner and wine with people I don't even know, but they like the show, sent me a note. They're watching this show every day in Italy. Wow. You're talking about magic. That's pressure for me, knowing all those people are watching this show. But you talk about magic. Alden is the magical guy, and he's down there at ProView right now, and he's watching every move I make and hitting buttons. And Jimmy Tran, our producer. You know, the story I wanted to tell you, it won't take long. And I'm looking right now, we have about 13 minutes exactly. You know, I was a senior at the University of New Mexico and the director of the Old Town Boys Club, and I heard that Kenny Norton and Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, and all these big fighters were coming to Albuquerque. I said, what? Let me find out more about that. I said, why are they going to be here? They're coming for the Bobby Foster testimonial. And it's going to be at the Hilton in August. And, in April. And I inquired about it. I knew everything about Muhammad Ali. He was my hero as a kid. Knew all his fights. I could tell you detail of how he won every fight up to that time. Well, I knew he was coming, and I wanted to make something for my great hero, Muhammad Ali. I made him with wood carving. I still would do wood carvings today, but then I was really hot at it. And I knew he was coming, and his great phrase, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I put that in calligraphy on this beautiful piece of wood, pine exactly, and knew I only had a very limited time to carve it and stain it and make it look sharp. Well, I finished it the day he got here for that ceremony. And I mean, literally that day. Stained it on that day that I presented to him that very night. I went over to the Hilton when I was done, wrapped it up in Christmas paper in April. Can you imagine? And I went over there and I was just going to find Ali and tap him on the shoulder and say, here, this is for you. But I accidentally did better than that. Went to the front desk out in the hallway and just looked back there and see, I see the head table, okay. And third door over, that's the kitchen back there, 1, 2, 3. I'll go into the kitchen, sneak in there and count 1, 2, 3 doors. If security grabs me and throws me out, so be it. So I took my present 1, 2, 3 door, opened the third door, and boom, right in front of me, there are all the dignitaries. The governor, Leroy Bierman of the Albuquerque Journal, and right there was Muhammad Ali, the guest of honor that night. All the other fighters are there, but none of them, as you know, would get the attention that Ali got on that special night that he was here. I took the present to him and said, Mr. Ali, this is for you. And he looked real quick and took it out of my hands and opened up the gift wrapping and looked at it and it said, Muhammad Ali, float like a butterfly. No, it said, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Muhammad Ali, ... Muhammad Ali. Quotes, put a little butterfly in there, little bee over here, and colored the flowers real nice. It was beautiful. It was my best work at that time. And I was so proud to present that to the heavyweight champion of the world. And he took it out of my hands and opened it up and said, wow, anybody do that for me has got to be my #1 fan in the world. And I said, yeah. He asked for my card. I dropped my wallet and everything in it as I tried to find a card for him or a piece of paper or whatever. Spilled all over the floor, got a chuckle. And then before I said, hey, I'm going to send you a plane ticket to visit me in my training camp this summer as I train for the Thrilla in Manila against Joe Frazier. And sure enough, that invitation came. It was in the paper the next day with Leroy Bierman, local boys club director, blah, 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 with Muhammad Ali. And it made the newspaper and the photograph too. So to make a long story short, I had a little time before it's time to go visit him, and I got the ticket and the letter from his business manager, who was right there as well. And it came, so I had a little time. So I made him another wood carving. And this one, Muhammad Ali, I am the greatest. And took that on an airplane with me across the country, landed there in Allentown. And from there, how do I get to Deer Lake? Or how do I get to his training camp? And I didn't even know it was Deer Lake then. But I asked him, how do I get to Aldi's training camp? Oh yeah, Deer Lake is right down the road. And I didn't know how to get there. It's too far to take a cab. So maybe they'll take a bus or something. Well, that night, Geraldo Rivera's team or his show, they were doing something at his camp. And a real nice man asked me, hey, we'll give you a ride up there. So I went up there and he took me right on the premises of the camp. And that after, so I asked him, where's Ali? Well, he said he's taking a nap up there at the cabin. And I went up there and said, go up there, but don't knock on the door, let him sleep. So I did. I'm waiting on the porch. And I heard some noise inside and I kind of peeked in there. And as I peeked in there, Ali was in the cabin in the corner taking a nap, but I opened the door, it screeched a little bit and got his attention, and he looked and he said, my little brother from Albuquerque. And then I walked right towards him. I had this other carving in my hands and gave it to him. He said, wow, I'm going to put this right up there so everybody can see it, including Howard Cosell. We started a conversation. That night I had dinner with Ali, and he invited me to have breakfast the next morning and to actually watch him train. And wow, was he a pro? He got out there and ran in front of his entourage, and they were in the big Cadillac behind him. He's out there running in front, and he had another athlete with him that very first morning. Later in the week, I got to run with him up that mountain as well. And then the very last day I was there with the heavyweight champ, he said, Henry, I want you to meet me at the office here, down here on the bottom of the mountain at 8 o'clock. And I was there. He comes down in a lavender Cadillac. Get in. He got in, drove on the highway to Allentown, pulled in front of a TV station in Allentown, and just he driving, Henry T in the shotgun seat, and we get to Allentown. He pulls up in front of a TV station, and I get out, and we go in, and we talked, and I couldn't believe it. It's an unbelievable story. We go inside, the lights are on, and the TV guys are running like crazy. Ali's here, and he's going to do a show. And I said, wow, I get to see Ali be interviewed. Well, he gets there, and they arrange something. And he said, Henry, come up here. Sit down. So I sat with Ali on the set, on the stage, if you will. And he said, hey, thank you for the wood carvings. And I know and appreciate what you did for me. Now I want you to do something for New Mexico. I got another chair here. You're going to sit in it. Everything's ready. You're going to interview me. Muhammad Ali's talking to me. And you're going to take this show back to Albuquerque and present this to a TV station there. And I was like, I couldn't believe it, but I was ready for it. People tell me, and we did 30 minutes of TV asking him about Joe Bugner and all those big fights the night with Liston, and just went on to whatever was in my mind was accurate. I knew everything about him. And he was kind of shocked that I knew so much about him and that I handled it so well. And people to this day say, come on, Henry, do you remember the first television interview you ever did? And how could you forget that? I said, yeah. I did an interview with Muhammad Ali. Oh, come on, Henry. No, come on, seriously. Your first interview of your career, who was it with? Muhammad Ali. It was the first time I did an interview on television. And proving that was always fun. But when I left there, and he really loved the interview, and he loved doing it with me. And he knew it thrilled me, but he wanted the people back home to see him with their Henry T. I'm a boys club director. I know nothing really about TV except who to take it to. I took it to Channel 7, and Max Glover, the general manager, and he ran that interview that was very entertaining. One night, he got a reception, and the ratings that were over the top, so he decided to use it 2 successive nights in prime time. And then after that, he said, Henry T., you're my weekend sportscaster. Amazing how things happen, huh? Wow. Thank you for being with us today, Jesse Siembieda. God bless you. Jimmy Tran and Alden, our producers. Thank you. And we'll see you again on Wednesday. Ronnie, I hope that story helped you, made you feel better. And there's more to it, and I'll relay some of that to you in the near future. Have a great day. Ray Birmingham, we love you, man. We don't want you to go anywhere, but it's your call. Have a great day. I'm Henry T. This is Henry T. Game Face Live. We'll see you in the near future.